All right, President Trump, he will address the nation tomorrow, 9 Eastern, to talk about the crisis on our southern border and the current government shutdown. Today, the Health and Human Services Secretary, the Homeland Security Secretary, Nielsen, laid out the facts, writing, quote, "The threat is real. The number of terror watch listed encountered at our southern border has increased over the last 2 years. The exact number is sensitive. Details about these cases are extremely sensitive," and adding that I am sure all Americans would agree. One terrorist reaching our borders is one too many. These are just the terror suspects that we know about who reach our border, and that thousands of terror watch-listed individuals transit our hemisphere each year, including last year, where DHS encountered more than 3,000 special interest aliens, individuals with suspicious travel patterns who may pose a national security threat. Here to discuss, we have Fox News correspondent at large Geraldo Rivera, Secret Service agent Dan Bongino. You know what, Geraldo, you and I, we've come to areas of agreement on this. Border wall, you agreed with me. Finally got you to agree. You didn't agree in the beginning. But Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer can't show up for a meeting with the vice president of the United States. Do they think it's funny to offer $1 for the wall? What are they going to say to these parents of Pierce Corcoran that I just interviewed and their son's dead? Or the people that also aid and abet these people with their sanctuary cities and their sanctuary states, criminal aliens in our custody that aren't handed over to ICE. This is, you always say it's about both parties. It's not. It's about one party now that refuses to protect the American people. And I didn't mention drugs, and I didn't mention human trafficking.
You know, I love you, brother. But you're looking at that family, the Cochran family, and what they've suffered. There are no words that I can offer that can give them any solace, any relief.
Let's solve the problem.
I ache for them. I'm so sorry.
Solve the problem.
Let me put a few sentences together here. I would feel equally upset and pained by their tragedy were the killer Irish or Italian or Puerto Rican or Jewish or old or young, or I think that to use these tragedies to try to make a political point
Geraldo,
is
stop
not
it. He's
useful
a dead
at this point.
22-year-old kid. Stop. We have
Yes, he is.
We have a dead police officer who has a 5-month-old kid. It's not using. It's about whether this government is going to protect her.
It is grotesquely unfair to use these anecdotes to make a political argument. You started by saying we have agreement about the wall, the barrier, the fence, whatever you call it. I think that this is now a political discussion. This is what the president has earned by his election and his perseverance. He has earned the wall, the barrier, the fence, whatever you call it.
All right, Dan Bongino, how many people have to die?
Democrats have earned.
How many people?
Let me finish one sentence.
How many people have to die?
Earned amnesty for the Dreamers, who are longtime residents of the United States.
Talk about DACA, but show up and don't insult the vice president.
The vast majority
Geraldo,
of the undocumented here.
I said 98% are good people.
You're not letting me make a point.
I'm saying let me go to Dan Bongino to be fair.
This is a political argument now, not an emotional argument.
No, it's about saving lives. That's not political. That's life and death. That's what the emergency is about. Dan Bongino.
This is fascinating, though. Geraldo, you're making a political point, too. I mean, you're sitting here talking about all of the positive components of immigration. And when Sean brings up one of the unbelievably, not even negative, but tragic, horrific components of illegal immigration, the death of American citizens through crime by people who had no right to be here at all of a sudden it's a political point?
As well as I know that these people commit fewer crimes than citizens commit. You know that they make neighborhoods safer, not more dangerous, according to the statistics.
They should not be here.
Let's compromise.
Let me give you the statistics. 100% of the people shouldn't be here. Dispute that.
Wrenching our hearts out with these stories.
Tell Nancy and Chuck
Why don't you
to
tell
shut
the
up.
story of the undocumented who brought their kid to school? Why don't you tell the story of the hardworking people,
my
the farm
point.
people, the kitchen people, the
100% of
babysitters,
illegal
the
immigrants
lawnmowers,
shouldn't be
the meat
here.
packers, the poultry processors. You tell a
Geraldo,
slanted story to make an emotional
100%
impact.
shouldn't be here. 100% shouldn't be here. If one of them goes on to kill someone, the parents aren't interested in your college-level statistics course. They're interested in the fact that the person shouldn't be here. What are you not getting?
If you try to paint me into an elitist corner,
I want to ask you this.
you defy
Geraldo, I've become friends with, not only did I interview these, I can't imagine what this family's going through. I can't imagine life without his father for his entire life. Officer Singh's father. But I also know Mr. Ronneback, and I know Miss Mendoza, and I know Mrs. Wilkerson, and I've done town halls with angel moms and dads. This keeps happening, and I'm not even mentioning the 90% of heroin coming into the country.
Don't you feel the same empathy for all families of violent crime? Don't you feel the same pain,
Geraldo,
the same
listen, 98% want a better
any
life.
of the victims of the 50,000 murders in this country? I feel equally upset.
Geraldo, if we can stop it, why don't we stop it?
Peaceful, prosperous
Why don't we
world.
stop it? Tell your friend Nancy and Chucky to get their ass out of bed and show up.
But I have Dan's my brother. You are my brother. I want it to stop. I want a compromise. I want the government to open. I want the president gets his barrier, his fence, his wall. The dreamers get their freedom. We stop talking about illegal immigrants as if they're all monsters.
How do you get it if they want to offer $1?
Well, you get it by, rather than talking about these heart-wrenching cases, you get it by
don't talk about the truth. Don't discuss the reality, the hell they're living through.
No, is that the reality? What about all the ones that went to work today, all the undocumented that went to work today?
Geraldo, I'm conceding 98% are good people, but they're not doing it legally.
98%.
Dan.
Geraldo, what about people who are documented, like my wife and my mother-in-law who followed the rule? Why are you so concerned about people who broke the law other than people, the millions who've come here legally and the American citizens who finance this country?
The vast majority, as you know, I
didn't interrupt you.
The vast majority.
You went on and I did not interrupt you, and you jumped right in. Let me ask you this one question. Is there some global right to citizenship in the United States? Is there any limiting factor you're willing to support here?
In the United States, there is a right to humane, compassionate treatment. And if you ask for amnesty or refugee status, asylum, you get a hearing. That's the Constitution. We can't circumvent the Constitution. Yep. We can't break our own laws.
Amnesty's not in the Constitution.
We're not. Geraldo,
that's not.
We have our governments with their sanctuary policies. We don't even kick out the ones we know are criminals. How stupid are we? How dumb is that? And how sad families lose their kids.
We must make peace.
We need to secure our
border. Sit down at the table and show up and think about the families and think about the future.
Agreed. The three of us should.
We should do it. You're right. When we come back, more vulgarity from the left. Absolutely vile words coming from fans of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We'll tell you about that next.